This is Jack Roady. Jack is the one that asked me to come in here. He's the one that will owe me for the rest of his life. Okay. There's something really important going on. I want you to relay to Jack because I need it to come out for more people. Okay. I want you to tell him, very isolated. Okay. Very isolated. What you know about him and the gun and the silencer.
Okay. I know that he sent me a picture of it when he was buying it.
Which is when?
That I'm not 100% sure of.
But you didn't start communicating / dating him until mid-December.
Yes.
So it's sometime after mid-December.
Yes, it was around January sometime. I can't remember if he did it before Valentine's, if he had the gun. I can't remember. Or if it was right after Valentine's. I started distancing myself right after Valentine's. I started pulling away from him.
All right.
Do you know how he sent it to you?
So, I don't...
Was it by email or text?
Text. And now Michael did see the picture.
Michael also saw the picture.
Because I called him over to show... Because like I said, I was telling my friends everything that was going on every step of the way of all of this. That's the one thing I do know. I have backup on that. So you know I'm not just making this story up all at once. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it was around that time. I don't remember the exact date. But the gun picture disappeared off my phone. That was what was weird. There were tons of other text messages that disappeared too. I'm lucky that I have the ones that I do have. And I can't understand why they all didn't disappear. That's beyond me.
None of us know how these phones work.
I know.
Has he ever talked about the gun since?
Well, no. I mean, he just said that, he bought the gun, and we had several conversations about...
That's what we need you to tell Jack. What were the conversations about?
We had conversations about how he could, as long as he had an airtight alibi, he could go straight up and kill Adrian. He said he brought Greg into it once, Greg Russell, by saying that, and it was one of the times where I started talking about Greg. I was mad, and it was something that, I'd got served with or something, and he's like, see what I mean? He said, and then he started talking about it and saying that he goes, all that would have to be done is that you just wear a ski mask, and you could just very easily just walk up to the door, shoot them, and walk off. And of course, I'm in the car with him when we're having this conversation, and I went into, that would be crazy because they would come straight to me. I said, are you kidding me? I said, I could not kill Greg, and so I'm trying to make it like it's a joke, like he's just joking and saying these things. But at the same time, as soon as I'm away from him, I'm calling my friends going, okay, I don't think he's joking, and he's literally talking about this stuff and thinks he could actually get away with it. And I'm like, and then of course my friends are just telling me, you've got to pull away, you're going to get hurt, it's dangerous,
And what's your motivation all this time for listening to him, dealing with him, staying with him?
He kept telling me that he was the only one that was going to help me because he believed me and he reviewed everything that I had. And I mean, he's a judge. I mean, I went to him. I found him. My friend found him online, saw that he was battling with Radcliffe. And my friend said, maybe he's your only hope. What else do you have to lose? Because in December, I just had those days taken away from me. So I emailed him through the county. He emailed me back and said, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And he put his phone number at the bottom of the email. Well, I took a chance. I immediately called him. I mean, I had him on the phone with me in a matter of minutes. I mean, between the email and everything, I mean, it was like boom, boom, boom. And he answered his phone. And I started talking to him. I told him my whole story. I was crying, hysterical, all this and that. He said, let me review a few things. And he said, I just don't know. I have to look into this. He said, but, I don't think I can help you. And, I'm not an attorney or whatever. And so, anyway, so I said, okay, I was like, just please, whatever you can do, because I don't know what else to do at this point. So at that point, he calls me the very next morning. I think this was on a Friday. He calls me Saturday morning, gives me a 30-minute window to jump in my car and come meet him. I mean, for all I knew, this man was married. I didn't know anything about this judge other than he was going toe-to-toe with Radcliffe. I mean, I rolled out of bed, like literally, and hauled out the door to go meet him. And come to find out, he was at this birthday party with his children. Well, I end up spending the whole day with him at this birthday party. He's talking to me, telling me he's going to help me, and all this and that. And
that's how it got started.
That's how it got started.
Did you tell these guys, the friends who you went to when you started getting concerned?
They know everything. They know everything. every detail.
May is one of them, right?
May is one of the main ones, and she
Okay.
was telling me, and she's a very Christian woman. She lives in Greg's neighborhood, and somebody contacted her, and she may give up the source if needed be, who the person was that told her to tell me that he's dangerous, to get away from him. And like I said, I made up and told him we were supposed to go to George Strait, and I lied to him and told him I pulled my back out that I could not walk. I mean, this was George Strait. Come on, you know George Strait. People were killing for those tickets practically, and I told him I couldn't go. I just could not. I didn't want to be around him.
Because May was
I felt
telling you
sick.
at that time that he
Well,
was
yeah,
someone for you to get away from.
I mean, come on, the New Zealand, the gun. I was like, oh my God!
And
But the last thing I wanted to do was make him mad, because with all the gun conversations we had, I thought, oh God, you know, he knows Greg would probably like to take me out, so he could take me out for Greg. So my freaking head was spinning. I was like, I don't want to make this man mad. So I just was nice to him, and I just, you know, I pulled back. We ended up breaking up. The phone texting conversations went back and forth about, you know, how I'd made him mad and I didn't trust him. He's very manipulating. So the conversation with the breakup it was a very manipulating, you know, and him making me apologize to him. And, I mean, all the texts are on. I mean...
Yeah, we're going to get that. We're going to get that.
So...
I just want to focus on the issue with the gun and the safety and the kids.
Yeah.
And you met with Adrian this weekend, right?
He said...
To tell Adrian...
Everything.
These same things.
Yeah, he said and of course, whenever I brought up I know I get sidetracked a little bit, but when he brought up the thing about, you know, that he could just do a ski mask or whatever, and I'm like, are you kidding? I'm like, you'd be the first person they'd point to if you shot Adrian or if I killed Greg. I mean, come on, what are we talking about here? And I'm trying to make light of it because I'm not ever going to kill somebody. And he said, I would just make sure I had an airtight alibi, and he said, you know, I would make sure of having an alibi, and I wouldn't do it myself.
And what's the part about New Zealand?
New Zealand, the plan was, I didn't finish telling you all of it,
right,
but the plan was his main thing was that he has 2 years left, okay, on the bench. He said he was not going to run again, and he wanted to save as much money as possible. He wanted us to move in together at Bay Ridge and save, so that we could, all of us, the whole family, disappear. Me, Paige, him, and his kids to New Zealand. And I was like, why can't you just be happy and live here and show her that you remarried and moved on with your life and then have a stable family, you know? And he didn't want to do that. He's like, no, they'll always be in our lives causing problems. He wanted to tell the kids that the plan was to rent a boat, have the boat sink. He had a guy that could get passports for $1,000 a person. He never told me who the person was, though, but he said he could get passports that he would get for all of us. We would supposedly be on this boat that he was going to talk up during the 10-day Christmas break, because he said after that his term would be up. So we would have a 10-day jump start to disappear before anybody could find us. And I'm sitting here arguing with him going, are you kidding me? I said, Greg would go to
this conversation has happened.
Just
Between December and February,
December
and February.
Before Valentine's.
Before Valentine's Day, and that's because, sorry, but we need to give Jack the specifics and the highlights.
I'm sorry.
That's because you guys broke up or had started the breakup process on Valentine's Day.
Well, yeah,
right?
the next morning.
I'm going to do the talking for a minute, okay? You just tell me when I say something wrong,
okay,
all right?
Yeah.
You started to break up around Valentine's Day because he didn't do anything for you whatsoever on Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes to one of the Facebook messages that you did say, exchanges that you have sent me, that I have seen, in which you say something about, we didn't see the beginning of the conversation, but it says something to the effect where you are saying, Tara is saying, well, whatever, New Zealand is 2 years away. And Dupuy's response is 21 months. I'm not a, what does it say? I'm not a dreamer. Yeah, we're going to
This is the
switch
wrong
it
one.
out.
It's the wrong chord.
What does it say?
All
I'm
right.
not a dreamer what?
No, he says, I have it.
I know. It's not a dream to me.
It's not a dream to me. New Zealand. No. It says 21 months. You say NZ. This is their code. NZ. You say NZ is 2 years away, and he says 21 months is the first response, and then the second response is it's not a dream to me.
Yeah. Which I sent him a text about that today because he was blowing up my phone today, wondering, you know, what I told Lori Laird and all this and that. And he said that, you know, it's rumored all over the courthouse that I'm telling all of this in exchange for help with Paige. And
how many times have I told you I'm not here to help you with Paige?
That's right.
How many times have I told you that?
A lot of times.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I'm texting him back and telling him I don't know what he's talking about, but he's blown up my phone. And I said, trust me, I said, because the whole thing is I've been telling him all this time when I didn't want to make him mad, was that I would never betray him. And one of the other times we were arguing, and you can go back and get messages and get the text, I was telling him that I recorded all of our conversations between me and him because he knew that we had these conversations. And my whole thing was, what if he turns on me with him being a judge and goes, of course, and this is with conversation with my friend May, she's like, what if he turns on you and says, if you make him mad and you break it off with him, what if he turns on you and says that you were crazy around your child? Or something, or you mistreated her or something, and him being a judge, that could ruin you. And so, all this stuff, I was being pulled in every direction.
One of his manipulative texts to you when you were fighting about something and you wanted him to call you on the phone, and his response was, only one person at the courthouse ever cared about you or Paige. You don't get it.
Yes.
Right. And then the New Zealand, I'll get it here in a second.
And he's like, rule number one,
do what I say.
Do what I say. You're not listening. It's just very controlling text just all the time.
Okay, here it is. NZ is 2 years from now. His first response, 21 months. His next response, it's not a dream to me. NZ is going to happen. And to defend, Tara knows that she's at some point in time going to get attacked about the fact that she talked about going to New Zealand with him. And her immediate response was, this is the present. What about that? Tara keeps trying to steer to normal. But it's not a dream to me. NZ is going to happen.
And his conversation about New Zealand with you was killing Adrienne and then going?
Well, he never really said that. He just talked about how he could do it. He could kill her, and, as long as he had an airtight alibi. But his thing was, he was going to tell the kids, because I'm like, what would you tell the kids? I'm asking him all these questions, because I'm sitting here just kind of asking him all this, thinking, I can't believe he's a judge and he's saying all this stuff to me. I'm like, this is like stuff that's something you'd see on a Lifetime movie, And so I kept inquiring about it and asking him more and stuff. And I'm like, what would you tell the children, And he said, I would just we have to tell them that they're, he said, my plan was to tell them their mom died in a car accident. And I'm like, he goes, and I'd have to tell them that she died because otherwise, that way that would eliminate them trying to, locate her, call her, pick up the phone or something like that. So I'm going back and I'm telling my friends and I'm going, oh my God, he's going to tell his children that their mother died. And he's like telling me, and they'll mourn for a couple of months or whatever and they'll get over it. He goes, but that's better. That's the better alternative, don't you think, than living a life like this, living here and having to deal with the way they are, meaning Greg and Adrienne. And I'm like,
okay, and you're hearing this craziness, and your good friends are telling you this is crazy, get out of there, and you won't do it.
No, I did. I pulled back from him. Immediately. I just didn't want it. I didn't know how to go about doing it because he was crazy.
So for the last 3 months, you've continued to communicate with him. And in fact, when she sat down
yes.
with us, she showed me he called 3 times in the first 8 or 9 minutes that we were here, and she didn't take the call.
Just in court the other day, he was telling me, because he's been telling me that the orders that I had from Radcliffe were a void order. So the last 2 Thursdays, I kept Paige with his orders. He's telling me, he said, shame on you if you do what that order said. He said it's a void order, which I have all those texts, plain as day. I still have those. And he said, he's telling me this, and I'm like, well, why is it that they're telling me that it's not a void order? I'm like, and I go, why didn't you mention anything about a void order months ago? Whenever I said, he goes, and he tells me in the text, I did, you weren't listening. And I said, so all this time I've been returning her, and I shouldn't have been? And he's like, because the detective at Leak City called me and said that they could file felony charges on me for that.
That's right.
And I said, Dupuy, I have proof that that's a void order. And the detective said, well, you need to bring me something in writing. So I'm on the phone texting Dupuy, and I'm like, why don't we have anything on this in writing? And he would never answer that. So this whole time, I just have been listening to him out of desperation and also out of fear because I thought, if anybody if anybody could talk about the things that he's talked about, that is not someone who's normal. I mean, because no matter what I have with Greg, my daughter loves him very much, okay? And I'm not a murderer, and I'm not going to be a murderer ever. I would never even participate in that. I'm very God-fearing. I know I've made plenty of mistakes in my life, but that scared the ever-living crap out of me. All I could see is my life flashing before me on a Lifetime movie of, the judge and the, mistress. I mean, oh, God, I was just thinking, this is freaking insane. It's crazy talk, and it's coming from a judge who claimed to be a Christian. He took me to church with him at his Catholic church and paraded me around the church, and everything. And I'm like, what is it these people that claim to be Christian and God-fearing and they can sit and talk about murdering their wife, and he would just, and then there were several different conversations about it, here and there, sporadically, whenever either Greg would make me mad or, something would happen, I'd get served with something, we'd have the conversation about Adrian and Greg, and that's when he would throw it out there and say, make the comment, see, that's why I got this gun with this silencer, and I'm like, oh, so you use your own gun? He goes, no. He goes, I'd make sure I didn't use my own gun. So I don't think he was planning on using that gun.
When he never showed you the gun. He just sent you a picture of it?
No, I did see it right after he bought it. I saw it once. And he had it on him. I want to say he either had it in his boot or he had it. And it was when we went to a concert. It was at the Grand Ole Opry House. What is that old guy that's country and western? Old country? No. Mm-mm. Think another one.
The guy who died?
No, he's really old. He's blind.
Ronnie Wilson?
Yes, Ronnie Millsap. When was that?
He had it with him then?
Yes, he had it with him then, and the driving home was the night that he had the conversation saying that he could walk up to Greg's door as long as he had a ski mask. He goes, yeah, it'd be so easy. He could just walk up to the
He has
door,
to do something
shoot
with
him,
settings.
and walk off.
Did it have a silencer on it when he showed it to me?
I think so. In the picture it did. I know that for a fact. And I didn't know that a silencer was illegal. I didn't know anything like that. But I've been told now from several people that a silencer is illegal. But really, why would you need a silencer?
You can see what your trick was. This one's yours, right? Okay.
No, is that mine? Oh yeah, that's
Because
the
Joe
one
got
for
the
my
wrong one.
daughter's. Yeah.
You sent an old Texas Ranger to your car to get a charger for an iPod. You really expected to get the right charger?
Well, I didn't want to go out there. You wouldn't let me.
No. I understand. I don't want to take any chances. By the way, I saw that he texted you twice or something about being a bunch.
I bet.
Just put it on another website.
I did that, but I'm telling you.
Just put in something.
I did that. Just don't get me started. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
This is why I travel with Kent so I can work. Jack, do you need anything else?
No, that's it for now. Thanks. You see that? Yes, sir.